What's up, SnEaKyNation? SnEaKy-P here, back with all the news after week number 4 and year number 2 of our San Francisco 49ers franchise, where the 49ers picked up another loss, this time to the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's check out some highlights. Demetri Todman would get things going on the right side, a 21-yard gain that would set up this field goal by Joel Edison, and the 49ers would go on top 3-0 early, and then Jaguars would get the ball right back. However, he would go down with an injury on the play. Certainly not a good situation for the 49ers, already missing Sean Kendall. Here is Willie Snead on 3rd and 9, getting the 49ers a fresh set of downs. And on 1st and goal, Demetri Todman into the end zone, touchdown San Francisco. They would capture an early 10-0 lead over the Eagles. The Eagles, though, would get back into this one. Carson Wentz down the right side, finding Matthews on the play. He would take it down to the 29-yard line. Then on 3rd and 3 on the right side, this is Zach Ertz who will take it down, making it 1st and goal from the 5, and that is where Ronnie Hillman would run the ball into the end zone. 10-7 would be the score early on in the game. First half still 49ers with the ball on 3rd down and 10. Carlos Hyde breaking some tackles and picking up the first down there. It was not enough, though, because Kendricks would get the interception for the Eagles and take back over the ball. They would eventually punt the ball away. The Niners would get the ball back, still 10-7 here. 6 minutes to go before halftime, and Demetri Todman down the right side of the field all the way to the 32-yard line. That would set up another Joel Edison field goal, and we have a 13-7 ball game. Still 4 minutes to go before halftime, though, which is plenty of time for this high-powered Eagles offense to get things going there. Carson Wentz with another completed pass on 1st and 10 over the middle. Here's Aguilar again with a nice little juke to end the play. That would set up this 3rd and 2, and Selleck into the end zone, touchdown for the Eagles. They would take the lead into halftime, 14-13 over the 49ers, and they would get the ball to start the second half. Down the right side, Dorial Green Beckham with the one-handed grab over Tremaine Brock on the play, and Coach Pita not too happy. The 49ers red zone defense did step up and hold the Eagles to a field goal here, but the score would be 17-13. 49ers trying to get back into this game, still in the 3rd quarter here. 3rd and 2, and Kaepernick is going to run for it, picking up the first down, getting a fresh set of downs there, and that is another 49er field goal by Joel Edison, his 3rd of the game. 17-16 would be the score, but the Eagles would come back out onto the field. Down, and Selleck unable to hold on to the ball. Jimmy Ward would get the interception on the plays. The 3rd quarter winding out. That would take us into the 4th, though, and the score is still a 1-point game. 49ers trying to strike on 4th down and 2. Kirkland Marion down the right side to the 17-yard line. 49ers, for the 4th time of the day, would have to settle for a field goal. Their red zone offense not getting it done. They do have a 19-17 lead, but Aguilar and the Eagles are looking to change that down the left side to the 47-yard line there, and then Wentz again scanning the field and making a big throw down the middle. Zach Ertz making the play to the 18-yard line on 2nd down and 6. Wentz over the middle. Aguilar, a nice spin move, would get it down to the 1. That would set up this 2nd down and goal. Carson Wentz rolling out, then on the right side will find his tight end Ertz into the end zone, and the Eagles will take the lead under 9 minutes to go. This has been a back and forth game the entire time. 49ers still trying to make some plays, though, and Carlos Hyde will break a big one on the left side down to the 31-yard line of Eagle territory. Keep an eye on the clock here. Under 5 minutes to go. 3rd and 8, and Willie Snead has the first down for the 49ers. Trying to get into the end zone, they couldn't do it. Once again, they're going to settle for a field goal, their 5th of the day. And from that point, the 49ers were trying to trust their rush defense, which had been playing fairly well throughout the day, but when the game was on the line, the defense was not able to get it done. The Eagles would run the clock out here and win 24-22 over the 49ers. The 49ers going into their bye week at 1-3, not where they would like to be. However, we have had a pretty tough schedule so far. Let's go ahead and get to practice and see what we have going on. Again, a lot of things to work on. Our defense in that last game was just not there when it needed to be. Throughout the game, our running defense was pretty solid, but obviously we have a lot of young players on the team, and it's something that's just going to take some time to really develop into the point we would like it to be. Over the middle this time, Aaron Burbridge with the catch for the offense here. So the defense out onto the field. Offense had already won gold previously on a drill, and it's coming down to this last one. If the defense can capture the silver, and it's going to with a Tremaine Brock interception on the play. So let's go ahead and jump right into the press question. Killa K-Man 1112, do you think this team can win the division? Obviously sitting at 1-3, it's not looking good. It's not where we want to be, but I do think it's important to realize we have had a very tough schedule so far. The Cardinals have been playing fantastic this year. The Eagles are undefeated right now. You know, going back to week 1, the Cowboys are probably a more talented team than we are, and you can even argue with the Jags offense that they might be a better team overall. The 49ers defense obviously stepped up in that game. So we've kind of seen two sides of this team right now. Sitting at 1-3 certainly doesn't look good for us winning the division, especially with the Cardinals seeming to have gotten their mojo back. But you know, maybe we can compete for a wild card spot if we can turn our season around. I do think the easier part of our schedule is going to be ahead of us at some point. Obviously, again, we've been playing some of the better teams in the NFL early on in this season, but I do like what I've seen from certain aspects of this team, and there's a lot of things about this team that deeply concern me, and we could end up picking in the top 10 for all I know right now. It just depends on how some of these young players grow up as players, if they become more competitive, if they start to get better, get their feet wet a little bit and know what to expect in the NFL, more prepared for certain plays, or if we just continue to give up big third down plays that keeps the other opponent's drive alive. Certainly would not be a good thing. I would say anything can happen at this point. I wouldn't rule out the fact that the 49ers could make the playoffs, but right now it's kind of looking like that might not happen, but we'll have to see. Stay tuned. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in to all of the scores from around the NFL. The Jags will pick up their first victory of the season, 28-7 over the Indianapolis Colts. The Jags improved to 1-3. The Colts falling to 0-4 on the year. And again, this definitely comes back to the Andrew Luck injury. Obviously, that's certainly hurting their team. Now, Andrew Luck did get injured last year. However, Scott Tolzien filled in very well for the Colts. They were still able to get an 8-8 record, but definitely starting off 0-4 is not ideal for them. The Jags went 9-7 last year, so even now, currently sitting at 1-3, they're definitely not too happy, but maybe this win will help lead them in the right direction a little bit. Sacks, Malik Jackson with a sack and a half here. Interceptions, Will Compton would have the only interception of the day. Fumbles forced, and this is important. Look at this. Chris Davis and Eric Reed, two former 49ers, going to force some fumbles. Eric Reed would recover his. 27-25, the Falcons with a victory over the Bears. The Falcons improved to 2-2. The Bears fall to 1-3. And look at Bobo and Whittington, each getting their first NFL touchdown passes. Whittington throwing for 280 yards as well. Definitely something worth keeping an eye on if Cutler is out with an injury. Obviously, Whittington is a quarterback that we scouted and believe he has a lot of potential. Vance McDonald, another former 49er here, 7 catches, 51 yards for him. Jared Cook with his new team, 4 catches, 126 yards, and a touchdown there for the Falcons. Defensively, or for the Bears, I'm sorry. And look at Corey Orr here, 11 total tackles and a sack for him. Claiborne would get 2 sacks on the day. It's nice seeing the rookie there stand out a little bit, though. Defensively, fumbles forced, we are going to have at least 3 fumbles forced, all of which would be recovered in this game. Next, we have the Saints taking down the Dolphins 27-17. The Saints improved to 3-0-1. The Dolphins falling to 1-3 on the year. The Saints 8-8 last year. The Dolphins at 4-12. Jay Ajayi having a pretty solid game, as did CJ Spiller and Mark Ingram there. Michael Thomas, 8 catches, 65 yards for him. Riley Cooper with his new team getting 2 touchdowns. Listenby, 198 yards and 2 touchdowns for him as well. Defensively, Rashad Jones would lead the way in tackles there. Going to have a sack from 4 different players. Interceptions, we are going to have 2, including Harris Blevins, the number 1 middle linebacker in last year's draft class. We scouted him as well, and he is making his his impact known early on. Ellerbe would force and recover a fumble. 24-6, the Bengals with the victory over the Texans. So the Bengals, starting off 0-2 on the year, have won their last two. They are now 2-2. The Texans at 2-2 as well. Bengals, of course, went 9-6-1 last year on their way to winning the Super Bowl. The Texans at 5-11 last year. Look at Logan Roan, the tight end out of Ohio State. 10 catches, 123 yards for him. Another player that the 49ers were keeping their eye on. Definitely looking good early on in his career, having a big impact there. Defensively, McKinney would lead the way with 8 tackles on the day. Sacks, we have 3 from Atkins and 3 from J.J. Watt. Nada on his new team with a sack and a half as well. Interceptions, we are going to have 1 by Ray Maluga here. Fumbles forced, and it is going to be nothing going on there. 13-12, the Redskins with a close defensive victory over the Los Angeles Rams. The Redskins improved to 3-1 on the year, and Denton Ritchie is getting some time. 168 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, and what is pretty much his debut of the year. Definitely a good storyline to look out for there. And again, the Redskins playing at 3-1. Kirk Cousins has not played bad, though. It looked like he might have gone down with an injury. We'll have to pay attention if he's back next game or not. The Rams, on the other hand, fall to 2-2 on the year, so the 49ers really not that far behind him. Only a game so far, and we have yet to play the Rams to know if we could turn that around quickly. The Rams went 8-8 last year, the Redskins at 7-9. Here is Josh Norman getting another interception for the Redskins. He has been great early on this season for them, and obviously a good pickup for them last offseason there. 28-17, the Titans with a victory over the Steelers here, and this is going to be the Steelers' first loss of the year. The Titans improved to 3-1. The Steelers fall to 3-1. And the Titans coming out looking good this year, which is not good news for the 49ers because the 49ers' next game is against the Titans. We have talked about how difficult the schedule has been so far for the 49ers. And here, all of a sudden, you see DeMarco Bullitt, a rookie, making an impact. But the Titans getting a big upset over the Steelers. Titans at 3-1. They went 7-9 last year. The Steelers fall to 3-1. They were 9-7 last year, but seeing the Titans get this victory is certainly not something that was expected. I would say through the first 3 weeks, the Steelers looked like the best team in the NFL. 28-17, the Broncos with a victory over the Cowboys. So the Broncos improved to 3-1. And look at Zach Lindsey continuing to get it done. 303 yards there. And it looks like Dak Prescott actually went down with an injury too. And Nassib, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions for him. So no Romo, no Prescott there. And the Cowboys are certainly struggling. And that might explain why they are currently 1-3 on the season. Of course, their one victory being an overtime win in week number 1 against the San Francisco 49ers. But again, I don't know how much you can fault them when their quarterbacks are going down left and right. Granted, they did have Dak Prescott in previous weeks. They did have Tony Romo in previous weeks. But it's still interesting to see that. Cowboys 10-6 last year. Broncos 5-11. 21-18, the Raiders would get the victory over the Bills. The Raiders improved to 3-0-1. The Bills falling to 2-2 on the year. Raiders at 7-9 last season. So a good start for them to improve on that. The Bills, on the other hand, were 10-6 last year. They have 2 losses early on, and Tyrod Taylor has not had a good season to this point. Obviously, plenty of time for him to turn things around, but that 6 interception game certainly not helping his cause. And I think whenever he throws an interception like he did in this game, he's going to be under fire a bit more because of that earlier game there. Max Lentz, a rookie out of Kentucky, going to force him to recover a fumble there. 26-14, the Patriots with the victory over the Chiefs. And pay attention here, James Vallejo, 300 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The Patriots started off 0-2 on their year. They have since won their last 2 games. They are now 2-2 after going 10-6 last year. Obviously, that team led by Tom Brady, though. A big difference between Brady and Vallejo, but Vallejo is certainly showing the ability to sling the ball down the field. If he can cut down his turnovers a little bit, definitely looks like a great quarterback for them. The Chiefs, on the other hand, currently at 0-4. They were 9-7 last year, but we have seen that Alex Smith did go down with an injury, and that has been a big blow to their offense, much like the Colts. So both teams really dealing with injuries there. 14-11, a defensive battle. The Chargers against the Giants. Chargers would get the victory to improve to 2-2 on the the season. The Giants currently at 1-3 again. Chargers went 14-2 last year, so unless they win their next 12 games, they did not do as good as they did last season. But of course, they lost in the first round of the last season, or at least the first game they played. So maybe if they can somehow turn their season around and get to the playoffs and get a victory there, they'll consider it a bit more of a success. The Giants 1-3 after going 9-6-1 last season there. No interceptions. Joey Bosa getting 3 sacks on the day. Lowry and Hayward would each force and recover a fumble. 20-17, the Lions with the victory over the Seahawks. So the Lions improved to 2-2 after going 12-4 last year. And interceptions aplenty in this game. The Seahawks, on the other hand, falling to 1-3 on the season. Of course, they went 9-7 last year, but it's worth remembering here that the Seahawks really did not start off last year all too great either. They really kind of got into their mojo and picked it up towards the second half of the season. So while they might be 1-3 right now, this is certainly a team capable of turning it around and still winning the division, which is what happened last year. But of course, this is great news for 49ers fans. The Seahawks sitting at 1-3. You know, the 49ers might still be within this division. We have to see what's going on with the Cardinals, obviously. But with the Rams at 2-2 and the Seahawks at 1-3, it's not out of the question yet. 42-30, the Vikings with a victory over the Browns here. The Vikings improving to 3-1 on the year. The Browns falling to 1-2-1. Vikings at 11-5 last year. Browns at 9-6-1. And, you know, Houston Church, though, for the Browns might be the guy to get it done. I think he has a ton of potential here, and obviously he has the ability to sling the ball down the field. I think we all see that already. A lot of interesting, good quarterback prospects from this last class that are all making their impact known early on, but the Browns have been looking for a franchise quarterback for a very, very long time. And it's looking like they might have found him in Houston Church here. So we'll have to see what happens. Their record might not indicate it there, but a lot of potential for him. 31-27, the Bucs with a victory over the Cardinals. So the Cardinals will get their first loss of the year and fall to 3-1. The Bucs, on the other hand, at 4-0. Early on in the season here, the Bucs went 7-9 last year, so to see them up to a 4-0 start, good news for that franchise. The Cardinals, again, 3-1. They went 5-11 last year. Certainly looks to have turned things around this season. And again, they are currently leading the division there, but I wouldn't rule the 49ers out just yet. It's not looking good. The Cardinals are looking very good. A close game against an undefeated team here, but anything could happen. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how the rest of the season plays out within that division. So let's go ahead and check out the awards. Teddy Bridgewater, 23 of 29, 287 yards, 4 passing touchdowns for him. Bobby Wagner, 8 tackles, a sack, and an interception. Brandon Marshall, 11 tackles, 2 interceptions. And then Listenby is going to make the list with 198 yards, I believe 2 touchdowns. Jason Westbrooks recently looks like the type of defensive back you can leave on an island and he can do just fine. And look at this, a pick in each of the last 4 games. This is a playmaker out of UCLA. You guys know how I love playmakers. I believe we've actually already scouted Jason Westbrooks, but something to keep an eye on anyway. Here we go with some re-signing. Obviously, we would love to have Aaron Lynch back. He's not happy. We're going to have to try it again next week. Carlos Hyde, this is a big one. We would very, very much like Carlos Hyde back. I don't want him back on a 5-year deal, though. I just don't want him on a 5-year deal. He's not liking that. We might be able to still bring him back on a shorter contract and offer him more money. We'll have to wait and see. Jimmy Ward is going to accept. We will have him back, and he is a key piece of this defense, so it's nice to have him back on board. Tremaine Brock, we're not going to negotiate with yet. Let's get to some scouting. Malcolm Sparks, 6'4", 22 years old, out of Tennessee, free safety, good zone coverage, leaves a little to be desired elsewhere, but if he has a good combine, could certainly be a guy worth keeping an eye on. Steve Johnston here, John Stone, a man-to-man corner, 6'1", 22 out of Louisville, good man coverage, decent stats overall for a late first rounder. Again, somebody worth keeping an eye on there. Obviously, we might need some help instead of Tremaine Brock. We'll have to see what happens there. Tajay Veal, 6'6", out of Michigan State. And this is going to be a right end, but he is a speed rusher with the idea of maybe we could take a guy like this and potentially move him to outside linebacker is what we're thinking. Here's Parker Rich, a 6'6" tight end out of Wisconsin, 22 years old, good catching stats as well. Might be a guy that could be our tight end of the future if he ends up there, and we feel like he's the best player on the board. Certainly looking like there are some good players in the first round of this class, though. Thomas Worthy, a middle linebacker, projected to go mid-third round talent, though. He does have good tackle, but when it's a first round pick, I don't know if the value is going to be there. That is going to be it for this episode. We are doing another news video later on today because we do have the bye week. I will show the stats from the 49ers and around the NFL. Be sure to check that out if you are interested, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Later.